So now that we've seen all the 2021 model offerings from CanAm, Speed, and Polaris, let's compare them and see which vehicle is going to be top of the heap this desert season. What's happening, everybody? Nick Olson, Chupacabra Offroad. Thanks for tuning back in. And if you guys want a little bit more in-depth breakdown, we've got a lot of videos on our channel. Most recently, last week, we talked about the 2021 Polaris offering. Also recently, we talked about the 2021 CanAm X3 lineup. And we've done 4 videos so far and counting of the new Speed UTV. So if you want a little more in-depth, go ahead and check out our channel. You can learn more about what we think about the whole product offering and how they compare against each other. So guys, desert season's approaching, and for the purpose of this video, let's compare the flagship 2-seat models of each of these top 3 brands. Now, you guys have been watching the channel, you know I'm a 4-seat guy, I love the longer wheelbase, but by far and large, 2-seaters are what most of the marketing across the entire country, even in the overall desert season or the West, sell more. So let's focus on the flagship models for each of these 3 brands. So starting off with CanAm for 2021, we're gonna be using their CanAm X3 XRS Turbo RR Smart Shox model, which retails for $29,299. Now, for the purpose of this debate, I could have gone with the RC edition. It is a little bit more expensive, but this is the vehicle that CanAm is marketing with the exciting new live valve technology. It makes sense that we will compare this with the other 2 models. All right, this is why the CanAm should win in this shootout. Starting off with the powertrain. 195 horsepower, well proven, well documented, very reliable. The transmissions are nice. The belts have held up extremely well. This has all been documented. Most everybody knows these things rip. And then of course, if 195 isn't enough for you, you can easily go way north of 300 horsepower. Of course, it's gonna cost you quite a bit more, especially once you get above 225 or so. But it goes without saying that CanAm's got the most reliable, proven, highest horsepower, highest performance drivetrain in the game. Second reason why they should win is with the addition of some live valve suspension, aka their Smart Shox. Now, I know this technology isn't new to the side-by-side game. Obviously, Polaris has had it since model year 18, but this is a really good technology, guys. We're really excited about it, as you guys have seen if you've watched some of our videos on the channel. It's really cool to see CanAm have this technology. And as you ride in different environments, particularly from the dunes to the hardpack, or you start adding weight to these vehicles, really think this technology shines. So kudos to CanAm for stepping up. Another nice feature benefit is that CanAm didn't really overcharge. It's about a $1,700 upgrade over the base Turbo RR model, which in my opinion is really good. You don't get a fancy screen, but I really do think they're delivering a lot of performance for the buck with that upgrade. So the third reason why the CanAm should win is because of the wheelbase. It comes in 7 inches longer than the Baja Bandit from Speed and the Razor Pro at 102 inches. This chassis is done really well on the racing scene. Most of the guys that have driven them, it's just a really good working 2-seat chassis, particularly here in the Southwest. And to be fair, if you are interested in the Speed, Speed also offers a longer 110-inch wheelbase option called the Diablo, which is 15 inches longer than their Baja Bandit. So you do have some more options with those guys, but of the 3, the CanAm is best, being about 7 inches longer. All right, here's why the CanAm shouldn't be the best choice for this desert season. Starting off with the frame and chassis needing some improvements. Now, I've talked about this a lot. Nothing's really changed, unfortunately, for model year 2021. You're gonna need to look at a bulkhead kit, potentially beefing up the radius rods. There's a lot of well-known potential issues, such as the lower A-arms that under a really hard hit or a G-out or a lot of extended abuse, these wear items need to be upgraded either right away or not long after your purchase. So this is a big bummer for a vehicle who can do over 85 miles an hour right off the showroom floor with amazing suspension and amazing power. It's just really scary. So you're definitely gonna need to budget some of these improvements to the frame and chassis so the chassis can hold up with the amazing power and amazing suspension. So speak of another reason why I shouldn't win, I'm gonna call this bullet point 2,000 miles later, because like I mentioned, having to beef up some of the chassis, I've heard that after a lot of wear and tear, especially when guys have ran bigger tires, 32, 33 and above, that the brakes aren't as firm as a Polaris, or it might need some upgrading. The steering rack could need to be replaced or need to be stiffened. Some other items like this, which end up costing a lot of money. So I think, again, this is kind of the dirty secret of owning an X3. If you want something that's really reliable, big tires, you want to push it hard, you know, own it for 3,000 miles plus and have a lot of reliability, you need to think about this, and that's something that I think is a detractor compared to the competition of Polaris and speed. All right, moving on to the next vehicle in the comparison, we're going to talk about the Polaris RZR Pro XP Ultimate, which retails for $28,499. Now, this is also hard. I could have easily made a case to throw the Turbo S at 72 inches into this comparison, but as we all know, this is Polaris's newest offering. It is their new latest and greatest advanced technology. It's the platform they're going to be building off in the future. And for that reason and all the other upgrades that come with its stock, we decided we'd use this in the comparison to keep it, again, as fair as possible. So there's a few reasons why this should be the top dog this desert season. Starting off with the Dynamics suspension. They're calling it Dynamics 2.0. Like I mentioned earlier, Polaris has been using this live valve technology for several years now. I think this is the 3rd or 4th model year they've used it. So they've made some improvements, they've figured some things out. By far and large, the system's proven to be working really well, pretty reliable when you talk about that, adding more complexity and more parts. And then also integrating with the ride command display. I've had this on my vehicle, my 2019 Turbo S. It's a really nice display. The GPS works great, a lot of added value there. You can see how your suspension is working, you can tune it and see how it works. So as it all works together, it's a really nice feature benefit, and it really adds to the fit and finish and the all-day usability of the RZR in almost any environment. So speaking of the ride command screen, the fit and finish has been very much improved over all the older RZRs, which was always one thing they would get knocked at compared to the CanAm. So the new RZR Pro XP's got nicer seats, it's got a bigger cockpit, it's got, you know, some adjustments on the steering wheel. The steering wheel moves in and out quite a bit more than it used to and more than the competition. All of these things add up to a really nice and far more refined package than Polaris has ever had. A lot of people, when they're at the dealership, these things they can see and touch and feel really persuade them when they're making a purchase decision. So good job on Polaris for stepping up the game with the interior. I'm sure they've heard that feedback by far and large, and you can see the improvements with the model 2021 Pro XP. So one more reason why the RZR Pro XP should win is the RZR loyalty. Now, we want to talk about performance and value, but it's no doubt that Polaris has built a tremendous amount of loyalty, launching the first RZR in 2008, that's 12 years ago. So they've been building and learning. They are the #1 seller of sport side-by-sides as a whole by a pretty good margin still, not so much in the Southwest where CanAm is really close, but you know, a lot of us have owned Polarises over the years and had a lot of really good experiences. So I think there's that factor where people are always going to go with what they know. Polaris is always around. They do a lot of things for the community, like desert cleanups, like the camp RZRs, and they are the brand that everyone is looking at. They are the brand that has built the most loyalty in off-road in the side-by-side market up to this point. So here's a couple of reasons why the RZR should not be the top dog this season. First off, of course, the Pro XP unfortunately is only 64 inches wide still. I was really hoping to see some 72-inch flavors of this when they announced the new 2021 models last week. And you could almost make the argument that at a lower MSRP than the Baja Bandit, than the X3, that you could upgrade to a long travel kit. Well, you're right, you're not wrong, but a long travel kit is still a very costly upgrade. We're talking, you know, over $6,000 by the time you actually get the suspension kit and then you actually have it resprung and revalved accordingly. Otherwise, it's not even worth upgrading. And even though the chassis is far more refined, a lot of guys that have spent some time in them say they handle extremely well. This is a big disadvantage. Another reason why it shouldn't win this year is because it has the least amount of suspension travel and the least amount of horsepower of the three. The motor is pretty much a newer version of the turbo that's been around for a few years, proven to be quite reliable. But at 181, you're not the top dog. You're not seeing as much aftermarket support as you have seen with the X3. And it's a considerable margin below the Baja Bandit, which is going to come stock with 225 horse. So power is down. The suspension is also a little bit down compared to the numbers. Now, really good working suspension is more important than particularly having the longest number, the biggest number. I know it's a marketing battle that all these OEMs want to have the most suspension travel, but you know, it's also pretty proven that the X3 with its longer stroke shocks work really well. So that's also a little bit of a detractor. I think you could argue again with a potential long travel kit, you would mitigate that and have a vehicle that perform just as good in most environments. But again, we're not talking about spending $7,000 on upgrades. If so, it definitely kind of changes things up. And one big detractor I think that could slow down all sales are the leaked photos of the new RZR Pro R. Now, These photos hit the internet last week. A lot of them got deleted, but a lot of us have seen what Razor has been working on. It's really exciting. This vehicle looks wider than 72. It appears to have a 4-cylinder motor, maybe a CVT, maybe not. But unfortunately with those photos, it's amazing, but it's also, I think, gonna slow a lot of people down from making a purchase. You know, in the sports side-by-side game, things move so fast. A lot of us have this phobia of going to spend our hard-earned money, especially when we're talking upwards of 30K, and then feel like the next best thing just came along 2 desert trips later. So I think this might be a weird year, particularly for Polaris guys who are gonna go with the Pro XP. That might wanna wait and see what this Pro R is, what are the stats, how much does it cost, as well as how reliable is it gonna be first year. Polaris has proven to have some issues with some first year releases. 2016 Turbo had a lot of issues for a lot of people. So it definitely throws a weird question mark, but at the same time, I think if you're seriously considering a Pro XP, it's gonna make you pump the brakes having seen these spy photos. So getting on to the final contestant here for King of the Hill Desert season, let's talk about the Speed UTV Baja Bandit LE Edition, which comes in at a price today of $31,500. Now, if you were one of the first people to purchase this, you purchased it at $30,000, but if you've just seen this video today and you want to go buy one on their website, the price has gone up and the price will go up again. So for the sake of comparison, let's talk about $31,500. This is their LE edition. And what's nice about the LE edition is stock, you're getting a roof, you're getting carbon fiber seats, 5-point harnesses, 32-inch tires, beadlocks, and another nice cool touch, which is a custom graphics package. You could pick all different types of colors and flavors. So that's what you're looking at here, 31.5. Let's talk about why it should win. So guys, I see the YouTube videos that get all the hits. I know it's all about horsepower. That's what everyone gets excited about. Well, get excited about the speed because it's gonna come stock with 225 horse. Considerable jump from Polaris and from CanAm. What's even cooler is that for $1 you can purchase a speed key, which bumps it to 300 horse. And what's even cooler than that is that very recently Speed said, hey, if you do want to get the speed key, what originally happened was they did not offer a warranty. Well, now you can buy a warranty. Now we have a production built side-by-side 300 horse with the warranty. So there you go, guys. It's gonna cost a lot of money to get a CanAm or a Polaris to put out those type of numbers. And you can get that essentially for $1 from Speed. Pretty hard to beat, well ahead of the game at this point. Another reason why it should win is that it's got the best chassis and suspension design. Now, I'm no engineer, a lot of this is going off of the Speed UTV presentations, which are obviously gonna be biased, but when you watch how those go down, they talk about some of the shortcomings, geometry issues and errors with the CanAm, with the Polaris. It looks pretty plain and clear that once this Speed is out, it's going to work better, theoretically, because of the geometry of the suspension. That still remains to be seen once we get to drive them back to back, but it definitely also looks like the chassis is far beefier. You've got 95 wall tubing, 120 wall in some sections. The entire front differential has an amazing billet housing. Speed has really spent a lot of time explaining why their chassis and their cage are significantly better than all other options out there, which is going to lead to safer, as well as you not having to go run out and spend money on a new roll cage if you don't feel safe with a lot of these OEM offerings. So speaking of cage that you don't need to necessarily replace, another reason why this should be the top dog is because it has the most value built in. So really thought out chassis design, real roll cage, 4130 chromoly, 77 inches wide, you know, shocks already with high and low speed compression adjustment and rebound adjustment, 32-inch tires, real beadlocks, carbon fiber seats, roof, full doors, ton of storage where you don't even need to buy an extra tire carrier because it'll fit securely in the bed. There's a lot of value built into this thing right off the showroom floor. So $31,500, it's packing a lot of value for the punch. The third reason why the Baja Bandit should win is because of the customizable feature right off the showroom floor. Now, I know we can all customize an exterior Razor to our heart's content, but before you even take delivery of your Speed, you have 4 different types of seats based on your size you can choose from, as well as a custom graphics package. Now, this is another level up in terms of service that we haven't seen in the side-by-side industry, and I think that's cool. And for a lot of people, that's a big deal. So good job, Speed. I think that's a reason to consider purchasing a Speed over the CanAm and the Polaris this year. So let's talk about why the Speed should lose. Is it real? Now, even though Speed's a new kid on the block, technically the bun's still in the oven. The kid hasn't even been born yet. And for a lot of you, this is just too much to get over. You want to see it out running in the wild. All we've really seen are a lot of renderings, them telling us they've been doing a lot of dyno testing, parts manufacturing, but the final assembly has not yet happened on many of these vehicles, or if so, we haven't seen that. So I get it, guys. Most of you guys, that's just too much of a risk. You're gonna wait and hang tight. That's something that's really gonna deter a lot of people, especially if we're talking about trying to buy something in the next 12 months. Of course, not being real also means there's no history of reliability. Now, the numbers we just went through sound amazing, far better than the competition, but again, until we've seen it running in the real world, it's hard to be certain. The good news is the first Speed UTVs that are going to be out there are going to be the heavier 4-seater. So if these first several hundred customers have great experiences, I think as a 2-seat customer, you're going to have even a better peace of mind, because of course the heavier weight is going to lead to more heat from the motor, more heat to the CVT belt, and it's only going to be less of a strain, less of a load on the 2-seat vehicle. So remains to be seen, but yeah, no proof in the pudding just yet. And the final reason why the Speed should lose is because they're late. This video is talking about this upcoming desert season. Unfortunately, these Baja Bandits aren't really going to see the light of day. The first ones, I think, until February. So if you watch this video, you get excited, you go buy one, you're probably not going to see it until the season's almost wrapped up, probably in April or May, maybe even later. That kind of makes it hard to put in as a shoe-in for this desert season, especially when it's unproven. But I know a lot of you Speed guys really like our channel and you're really optimistic about it. The momentum's been building week by week, and you're ready to take the plunge, even if it's not proven yet. All right, drum roll, who's gonna win? All right, I tallied up all the votes, and in my opinion, the X3 wins for King of the Hill this season. Now, a lot of you Speed guys might think that that's crazy. I get where you're coming from, but until it's tested, until we see it. Also, this video is talking about this season, and there's a really good chance most all of you would not even be able to get a Baja Bandit. So for those reasons, it didn't become the top choice. Same thing with the Razor Pro XP. I mean, we already saw teasers of this new Pro R. Who knows what's going on with that? It looks very production ready, in my opinion. We're gonna see this thing out in the wild before the end of the year. But for now, we're talking about what you can go buy, have fun, what's proven. The X3 is that, for all the reasons I mentioned. Amazing power, tons of aftermarket support, nice fit and finish, great suspension performance. So this, I think, is gonna be a really weird year. I think a lot of people are gonna hang tight. I think this new Polaris release, as well as the Speed, have so much interest. People wanna see what they are and how they exist out in the real world. It's really hard right now because a lot of you guys that are sitting at home with machines know that if you sell them, there's so little supply out there that you can sell them for top dollar. But unfortunately, the reverse is going to be true when you go buy something. All three of these brands aren't going to have as much inventory as we've seen in the previous years due to COVID. So you're going to be paying more even if you do get top dollar. A lot of people have even asked me to buy my Razor just off of the video that we made, and I'm reluctant because I want to have a Razor. I want to go have fun. We have more trips going on. I'm not going to sell it until I've got my new Speed in my hands. So going to be a weird year, guys, in my opinion. I think we're not going to see a lot of brand new machines right away, but as the season wears on, as we learn more about what the Polaris is, see more details on the Speed, I think it's going to change up people's buying decisions. I think ultimately where we're at right now is that we're on the cusp of some game changers in terms of going above 1,000 cc's like it looks like the Polaris is, potentially going wider than 72 inches, which is a first for Polaris. Robbie Gordon coming out with the Speed at 77 inches wide with over 225 horsepower stock with the 300 horsepower option. Not only that, but Speed's got a lot of new innovations, and I really think it's going to change up how people perceive the market. So really excited to see these things running around in the wild. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. If you didn't know, we also sell products. Check us out on our website, chupacabraoffroad.com. Please like and subscribe if you guys like the content, and we'll see you on the next one.